All right, I'd like to now recognize Representative Rich McCormick, gentleman from Georgia. Dr. McCormick is a veteran and emergency medicine physician and a proud member of the House Armed Services, Foreign Affairs, and Science, Space, and Technology Committee. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's interesting to hear person after person come up here and talk about the debt. We all know we have $38 trillion in debt. We all know that that's a problem. Choir, preacher, that's kind of how you have a lineup of preachers today talking about different ideas. Everybody wants to fix Social Security. We know it's going to go and solve it, but we'll wait till last minute, almost certainly, because otherwise we get vilified. Whoever's in charge and tries to fix this will be vilified as trying to cut off. We're not going to let it go bankrupt. We're going to shore it up, and it's going to go push us into more massive debt. Same thing with Medicaid. We can't make even subtle common sense cuts to Medicaid or make it accountable because, of course, we're the bad guys by cutting off millions of people who could actually be doing something better in their life. But we're vilified for that. Same thing with Medicare. We despite our best efforts, all of our considerations to do the right thing have always been thwarted by people who want to buy votes with other people's money. But I have a great idea that I think can be bipartisan, and that's common sense, where people have control of their own destiny, even inside of the federal bureaucracy, which I think everybody can get behind. I think everybody here is a potential co-sponsor. And this is the Incentivized Savings Act. This is something that was a brainchild of 30 years ago when I was in the military as a logistics officer for my squadron. I got to the end of my fiscal year, and just like everybody else, I save about 10% of my budget for emergency funding. And then at the end of the year, if I don't spend that, I'm penalized. Every bureaucracy in America right now, if you don't spend your budget, what happens? You lose that money. It goes, somebody else spends it anyways. And then next year, you're probably going to get a smaller budget because you obviously didn't need your budget. So everybody's trained. Every federal bureaucracy in America is trained to spend every dollar they have so they don't reduce their budget the next year. How ludicrous is that? Any business who did that, that CFO would be fired. That business would go bankrupt. And yet, that's our standard of government spending. The Incentivized Savings Act turns that on its head. When I brought it up to the speaker, his first reaction was, that sounds too good to be true. His next reaction was, why haven't we done this before? Then his next reaction was, go run that by Cole and the Cardinals and see if it's even doable. When they said yes, I knew we were onto something. I brought up with Mr. Arrington, I know you're a true fiscal conservative. I know both of you. And by the way, these are all my friends here in this room. And this is something where you get to self-govern, where you have a government agency, when you get to the end of the fiscal year and you say, gosh, I have money left over, instead of being incentivized through a stick, being punished for not spending your money, you actually get rewarded. It's simply put, 49% of the money that you don't spend goes to next year's budget. You actually get a bigger budget. You're rewarded by getting a bigger budget next year. 49% goes back to debt and deficit. But nobody can criticize you because you're in charge of your own department. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I'm not going to punish you, but I'm going to incentivize you to do it, to save the American public some money and also increase your budget next year so you can get that line item you couldn't afford this year. 2 carrots, and if that's not good enough, we're going to swing it up a little bit more. We're going to give you 2% left over as bonuses, retention bonuses to that department up to 10% of your salary. So now 3 carrots to do the right thing instead of 2 sticks to do the wrong thing. You're in control of your own destiny. Nobody can vilify you for this. It's a built-in Doge inside each department. Instead of having Doge come and say, I'm going to cut your department, and I'm going to tell you how, you get to determine what's most efficient for your department and what's efficient for the next year's budget without penalization. It's incentivization, control, and it can redefine the way we spend money in government and right-size government permanently. I think it's a brilliant strategy. I ask for your support. I ask for your co-sponsorship. I want to get this bill passed before we lose this opportunity, because once we're gone, so is the idea.
Well, thank you, Mr. McCormick. It sounds like a really interesting idea. I personally haven't spent a lot of time looking at that, but I certainly will, because, I mean, we all know the budget process is broken. We need to look at reforms of that process, and this sounds like a really interesting idea, so we appreciate you sharing it with us.
Mr. Chairman, how can you not get excited? I mean, think about it, Chuck. These guys are coming from all over our conference, various committees, various parts of the country. We're going to save our country. And we're going to do it with the people that have graced the witness table today and the people who've showed up here, by the way, all Republicans. We're going to need our Democrat colleagues. The budget process is just a set of incentives. And as Peter Drucker, the father of the science of management, said, incentives drive behavior. If you cannot do a budget and not pay for it, that means meaning no consequence, guess what? We'll take the easy path of least resistance. But if you say no budget, no recess, can't go home, I bet you we get a budget done. We talked about unauthorized spending. That's not an appropriator issue, that's an authorizer issue. What if you started losing authorization resources for your programs if you didn't authorize before they funded it? And what if we actually had incentives to not spend it so they didn't fear losing it at the bureaucracy, but we incentivize savings? Man, just getting incentives right, I think, would right the ship, clean this place up, and set us on the right track. Thank you so much, Dr. McCormick, for your leadership.
And thank you for your service and your fiscal conservatism. I will say this, too. I'll end with Elon quote. The first time I ever met him, he was asked, what's your next big idea? He said, I got a million ideas. I can't go to bed at night because I have so many ideas. But the question is not what my next big idea is, but what can I actually execute? What can I finish? This is something that we can finish. This is not a partisan issue. And this is not pushing grandma off the cliff. This is self-determination, and it's something hard to vilify. We can pass this bill.
Yeah. Great. Good work. Thank you for being here.